Jamie Raskin, as usual, was right. The January 6th hearings are blowing the roof off. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the DemCast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, along with my colleagues Karoli and Aliza Worthington, both of crooksandliars.com. And it feels like it's been 2 weeks instead of one.
It does feel like it's been 2 weeks.
I know. Well, so much has happened.
I mean, it's like, thank God it's Friday, because seriously.
Well, you, of all people, deserve to say that. I mean.
Yeah. So, yeah,
But,
it's definitely a insanely crazy week, but in a good way. I mean, these hearings are just amazing me. And I didn't think I could be. I know that it was kind of cynical about it. I know, I've read all the things, I've seen all the leaks. It's just going to be a rehash for everybody else. It's like, oh no, that's not.
There's
excuse
more.
me, Karoli, but no, there's more. There's always more.
Mostly as we all have been watching all of this, it is unbelievable bombshells that are dropping everywhere.
Bombshells, but also just things coming into focus. Like,
Yes.
we were getting drips and drabs, story here, story there. Ginny Thomas sent some text messages. There was some convictions of lower level insurrectionists, the Proud Boys, seditious conspiracy, all of those things sort of in dribs and drabs without seeing the whole picture. And what they're doing, and they're doing very well, is putting together the big picture for all of us to be able to understand. And as they do that, you realize that there was nothing random about what happened on January 6th, that it was all well planned, well in advance of January 6th, and that it had a specific purpose. And that purpose was to overthrow the election.
And
yeah, it started November 7th.
On
right.
top. Trump knew he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Trump knew that what he was doing was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump literally called for the assassination of Mike Pence.
Yeah,
he did.
I mean, how this is not
he didn't want to be his friend anymore, Donna.
How this is not splashed on the front page of the New York Times and the Washington Post, I do not know. Why was that not the headline? That Trump basically ordered a hit on Mike Pence.
Because we know how the New York Times and now, sadly, the Washington Post operates.
Yeah. So, I mean, or ABC News or, network news, but there was no question after yesterday's hearing that Donald Trump ordered a hit on Mike Pence. If he wasn't going to do what Trump wanted him to do, then it was fine to take him out.
Okay, now, raising my hand, person who didn't watch the hearings yesterday, give me the rundown on why you're saying with such certainty after yesterday's hearing that that's the case. Because, I mean, I could have said that 6 months ago, knowing just based on what I knew about, what he said. And,
Yeah, I mean, your gut would also tell you that that's the case. Yeah. But
what
yesterday,
came out yesterday,
what we heard
that cemented everything.
Karoli.
So the first thing that got driven home was how dogged Trump was about overturning the election. And it was like, basically, if Mike Pence isn't going to cooperate, get him out of the way. Right? I mean, the whole plan was to have violence happen in the Capitol for a number of reasons, not the least of which was to intimidate Mike Pence into doing what they wanted him to do. And if not, kill him. And I still want to know who the dude with the megaphone was reading off the tweets outside, because
we don't know
at
that?
2:22, we don't know who he was. I don't know who he was.
Right.
Yeah. The FBI might know, the DOJ might know, the committee may know. Okay. I don't know. but I don't know who that is. But they were in real time reading off Trump tweets to the crowd to get them stirred up. And Trump basically said, Mike Pence didn't do what we wanted him to do, and now we're just going to have to do, I don't remember exactly what the tweet was, but it was, basically, we're going to have to fight for this ourselves, blah, blah, blah. And it was shocking. It really was. It was shocking. And just the doggedness with which Trump kept on doing that, calling Mike Pence, pressuring Mike Pence, calling him on January 6th ahead and basically calling him a pussy and a wimp for
tweeting
not
out on January 5th that Pence agreed to do something that he did not agree to do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. That was the other thing, that basically tweeting that out.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was all this lead up to it. And then you had, on the other side, you had John Eastman, who was also dogged about this and was pressuring the Pence's attorney, his, like in-house counsel, to get Pence to do this thing. And John Eastman knows, first of all, that his arguments are bull, but he keeps pushing it anyway. And while he's doing this, then he's also writing memos basically saying that it would, like, if you wanted to get this to the court, if you wanted to push this to the Supreme Court, then some violence would be a good way to have them get their attention so that they could then take the case.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, January 6th insurrection. So, I mean,
what I loved was, on the Tuesday hearing where the guy who worked on the impeachment and was one of the counsels to the president, told Eastman that he better get himself an effing criminal attorney.
Yeah.
And then yesterday it was revealed that after that conversation, Eastman emailed Mark Meadows and said, I would like to have a pardon if that's still in the works.
Yeah, I'd like to be added to the pardon list, he said.
Oh my God.
Because of course.
List. Oh my God.
So you may have seen on Twitter yesterday, everybody making fun of that, showing pictures of criminals in popular culture.
Wanting to be added to the pardon list.
If that's still in the works.
Is it still in the works? Yeah.
That's the latest meme to come out of it.
I mean, it was insidious and they haven't said this yet, but it's coming. Ginny Thomas, I think, was the conduit between Eastman and Clarence. Because, I mean, the other news that came out was that there was some kind of divided Supreme Court about whether they should get involved or and everything. And
talking about the timing on the Supreme Court, and he had knowledge apparently of of what was going on in the Supreme Court. We don't know.
Did Eastman did
because the guy is a bullshitter, but he does have.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been bullshitting, but he was buddies with Ginny Thomas. Yeah. So I mean,
both of them,
add it up, right? It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. So it's just this Supreme Court is so corrupt. It just cannot exist the way it exists right now. It is so corrupt. And the idea
Thomas is never going to resign, and the Democrats are never going to impeach him. So
no, they've got to expand the court.
What you have been saying, Karoli, what Ellie Mistal has been saying, what a bunch of us have been saying is we need to expand the court so that to dilute their power.
Before we can do that, we need more Democrats.
We need more Democrats in the Senate. We have to get rid of the filibuster. Those are the things that need to happen. So, vote in 2022, vote in September, vote in your primaries, vote in November.
Vote for the senators, especially and the House. But I mean,
Democrats,
the Senate is
when we show up, we win. I can't say that enough. I can't.
And as a postscript to what we talked about last week when we were focused on the California primary.
Yeah.
The hearing on Tuesday went into the reads what was happening election night in the White House. And you had the Fox News editor, political editor, who was fired because he called Arizona early and was right.
Yes.
And he explained the concept of a red mirage. And he said the red mirage is what happens when you've got Republicans showing up in person and their votes get counted first and the Republican candidate surges. And then as they keep counting the votes, you get the Democrats. And it turns out that the Republican lead was a mirage. So there was a ballot drop earlier this week in Los Angeles, and Karen Bass has surged like 4 points ahead of Caruso.
Really?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yes. And a lot of progressives have surged ahead.
That's good.
There's still hundreds of thousands of votes to be counted, so it could still go up and down. We don't know.
And the bad thing about that is that it gives, not that Republicans need any sort of basis in reality whatsoever to claim anything anymore, but, it just gives them even more of an, it feeds into their impulse of saying, what? We were winning 10 minutes ago. Now the Dems have pulled some dirty trick. They padded the ballot box or they pulled out a suitcase and they stuffed the ballot box, and on
Tuesday they went
because they don't understand how election counting works and they don't understand how mail-in.
Oh, they understand.
Yes,
they understand.
But the idiot ones don't. And the ones who do understand use that mirage. They use that mirage as a way to, stoke the anger in the ones who don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gives them yet another tool.
Right. No, exactly. And the thing is, they fixed it so that it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. Because if we told Democrats, go to the polls and vote on election day, just to offset or whatever, they'd get shut down. There's something would happen, right? I mean, we've seen too often what they do when people stand in line at the polls. Right. And not to mention the fact that people aren't, I mean, if given a choice, right? I have a ballot in my hand that was mailed to me by the state of California, right? And I can fill it out and put it in the Dropbox. Why am I going to stand in line?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
We've got those huge lines,
So the one thing I will say is California really does need to put together some kind of more efficient counting process. I mean, it is a little insane that 2 weeks after a primary, we're still counting ballots. That's crazy.
They need to be able to pre-count the ballots as they come in.
Exactly.
We have a lot of people there in California.
Exactly.
Well, and you do in LA, and a lot of people will wait until election day to turn in their ballot. And
my daughter was texting me on election day from work, filling out her ballot. And she said, oh, yeah, we're sending a PA out to drop all of the ballots for everybody on our production.
Are you allowed to do
that? Yeah.
I think, you can sign and say I was authorized to.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sign the ballot and that you authorize somebody.
Right. That's why yep.
Yeah.
But
so,
she's working every hours on a movie.
Right. If you're working 16 hours a day, when are you going to get to this?
Doing, And so she's texting me about, who do you think it should be for insurance commissioner? I don't know anything about that. I'm very proud that she did it. Right.
Yeah. No, good for her.
Yeah.
So that's great. So anyway, back to the hearings as they were. I mean,
there was so much yesterday. And, Aliza, I wasn't able to watch it either. I was having a day yesterday. And so I was listening. I was listening on an app on my phone. I was out of the house. I kept getting, I have friends who have health crises, and I kept getting phone calls and stuff. So I wasn't able to focus that much on it when I got home. I tuned right into MSNBC's A-Team doing the recap.
Okay.
And caught up. And that really is the A-Team. They've got all
it really is.
What A-Team did they put together? I'm assuming Nicole Wallace and Joy Reid, and who else?
Rachel
Maddow.
Rachel.
She's been on
Anchor.
3 days this week because they
Yeah.
canceled the one on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so Rachel, Joy, Nicole, Lawrence O'Donnell,
and Ari Melber,
and Chris Hayes. And when Lawrence has to leave to go to prep for his show, they bring on Ari Melber. Last night they also had Stephanie Ruhle. And I have to say something. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, Stephanie Ruhle was talking about inflation. Another topic. But she was the only person I have seen who was explaining the reasons that we've got this crazy inflation and saying how the president and the Federal Reserve Board had no idea there would be a war, that this is unprecedented after the world emerged from a pandemic, reminding everybody.
Another unprecedented thing. Yeah.
That it's been uncharted territory. And
that's her wheelhouse too. Like that's her expertise.
Nobody's reporting this, She was reminding the people that, and we need more of that. So yay, Stephanie,
She's taken that what I view as a truly progressive
economic view.
Well, economic view, political view, in the she's not giving any Republicans any kudos for doing the bare minimum, for doing their job. She's not giving Mike Pence any props for doing what he was supposed to do. She's like, I don't care how much danger he was facing. He was doing it, so he decided not to overthrow 230 years or 250 years of democracy. Well done. Like she's just like, aren't we, she refuses to play that game of, calling any of them heroes or, saying that they saved it. No, they helped create it. And the only reason they were in that position, for whatever reason, is because they helped facilitate the situation to begin with, by not calling out Donald Trump to begin with, by not going public with his bullshit, by not, the only reason we were in the January 6th situation is because none of those assholes, Bill Barr, Mike Pence, none of them would publicly break with him in time to keep it from happening.
What's worse is that they are still supporting him after all that.
McConnell would support him for president.
I would vote for him again.
Here we are doing his work for him.
Bill Stepien, the campaign manager who testified, and his testimony was damning. He is currently,
he's another one.
Beat Liz Cheney.
Right.
He's working for a Trump endorsed candidate to oust Liz Cheney in Wyoming. And he only testified to cover his ass.
Yeah, he was
because he had criminal liability. He wanted to make sure that the criminal liability was, oh no, I've set the record.
He was free. His hands were clean.
I was a normal.
I mean, he did that with Chris Christie too, by the way.
Yeah, during Bridgegate.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not one of these Republicans who the Democrats are so masterfully using to tell the story that, should eventually damn Trump, not one of them is doing this for any reason other than to cover their own asses.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, one. Did we hear that Bill Stepien's wife had the baby?
Oh, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Here, I'll Google it and find out.
I Googled it the other day, and There's been no reporting on it.
Well, my theory on that is that it was either they planned to induce or planned a C-section for that day.
Yeah. Either that or they planned to, she had some Braxton Hicks or whatever.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
Oh, she's going into I don't know. I shouldn't make fun. Braxton Hicks are no joke, but
No, they're not.
I mean,
okay.
I'm just being like extra petty right now, but
this is hilarious. So you guys, there's absolutely no report about his baby at all.
Isn't that cute? So he used his pregnant wife as a shield.
Yeah. Sounds that way.
These people, this is the reason they don't want people having abortions. It's so they can shove their pregnant wives in front of them when they need cover.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Unreal.
It's a very good thing that the committee videotaped so much because, yes, the hearing on Tuesday was delayed because their witness did not show up, but they had plenty to show us.
They had plenty to convey.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did.
Oh dear.
And I'm just trying to find just one report, you guys.
You're better at Googling than I am. You're better at research.
I'm just going to help.
Okay. Well, whatever. I mean,
I wish them well. Baby is a blessing.
I'll grant them their child.
Baby is healthy.
The cynical part of me. Yeah, the cynical part of me was, planned C-section or, induced in
quick plan
one or the other. Well, those things I could see where you could, if he knew he was testifying on that day, they could do it. I mean,
why not?
I just don't put anything past these Republicans. They're a crime ring. They don't want to be, and he definitely didn't want to be in the room, testifying. He didn't.
Liz Cheney for everybody to see.
Oh my God. I would have loved to have seen Liz Cheney questioning him.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. But I mean, honestly, he has a conflict of interest, right?
Yes, he does.
Between,
does.
So, and he should have done something about that, but whatever. Anyway, if you don't watch any clip from the last two hearings, just go and find the one, we have it on our site, with the Judge Ludig's closing remarks yesterday, where he basically said, among other things, that he would lay his body down in the road before he would let Trump succeed at what they were trying to do. And he said that they're
a reminder that Ludig was described as the right Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Respect.
And I mean, this guy is by no means any kind of liberal. He is a conservative icon. He was considered on the short list for the Supreme Court for a long time. I mean, he is definitely a conservative. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and he, as his final warning yesterday, told the committee that Trump is a clear and present danger, and that the plans go on for 2024.
Yeah.
And that warning needs to be heeded. Yes. Because I mean, we know that. We know that just by what's going on with replacing the election officials and all the things that are going on with that. But people that aren't paying attention don't actually know that.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Donna.
No, I was agreeing with you. We can see it. It's right in front of our faces. And I feel like Chicken Little. I'm screaming, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And nobody's paying any attention.
It's so frustrating because it feels like personally I can have no impact on an election, the election of a Secretary of State in a red state. Like, what am I going to be able to do?
So I'm actually more worried about secretaries of state in swing states like Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And so in Pennsylvania, the governor appoints the Secretary of State. So
right, but that's
we
the thing,
have
like,
to
it's
make.
so daunting to know. Like, it feels daunting to me because, like, in Pennsylvania, that's how the Secretary of State gets placed. In other
I think that's the only state that happens in.
Right.
Maybe
every place
Virginia
else,
too.
I
It's
mean,
an election,
But
but
the Republican candidate for governor in Pennsylvania was at the
he
insurrection.
was at the insurrection,
right,
Mastriano.
Now,
yeah, and he's
I saw a picture on Twitter this morning of Fetterman shopping at Costco. So, and he looked
All
good.
right, so he's up and around. That's good.
Yes.
You know, may the health gods smile upon him and may he win
Yes.
because we
yeah,
need that
exactly.
seat.
And
We
we
need
need
He's running for the Senate though, so we need Josh
Yeah, I
Shapiro
mean,
to win as
we
the
need Josh
governor.
Shapiro to win the governorship so he can appoint
right.
a Secretary of State
Yeah.
that'll, yeah.
So and in Nevada, this is the one that scares me because Nevada is a purple state. It's definitely like if Democrats don't show up, then
Yeah.
Republicans will win. So it's the kind of state where really turnout makes a difference. And their Republican nominee for Secretary of State is just freaking scary. I mean, off the chart scary. Like they would totally be fine. I can't even, I gotta find the name, but they would totally be fine disqualifying all the Democratic votes and keeping the Republican ones.
Kind of makes you want to move to Las Vegas for the summer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, although I did just finish watching Hacks, so.
Only if I could
Jim
say
Marchand.
Yeah.
His
So,
name
I
is
mean,
Jim
I kind
Marchand.
of answered my own question and negated my own depressing cynicism about it because, I mean, I guess what we can do is find out what the swing states are and the ones that are having, you know, that have these elections in, I guess not all the swing states are having necessarily these elections in 2022. I guess not all the senators are up for re-election in the swing states, but we can find out which ones are.
No,
right?
There's key states though. Wisconsin is one.
Yeah.
So I mean, Wisconsin is one, Arizona is one, Georgia is one. I mean, they're all the swing states, Michigan, you know, that
there's since it's every 6 years, there's a good, you know, and they're usually off, you know, there's not usually, both senators don't normally run in the same year. And the only reason that happened last time with Ossoff and, you know, in Georgia with Ossoff and, oh my God, help me, Warnock is just because there was a special election.
Right, so, because Trump appointed somebody who was a senator, you know, he kept appointing.
Right, that was just a weird thing. So typically the senators are one after the other. So I'm just thinking out loud, but I mean, we can write postcards, we can make phone calls, we can do things to make sure that we help get out the vote. We can donate to get out the vote efforts. And I just have to keep telling myself, when we vote, we win. When we vote, we win.
And you guys, in what universe is Father of the Year Herschel Walker polling ahead?
Oh my God.
You know, that man is going to make me violate my long-standing, you know, my long-standing vow of not publicly criticizing Black people for any reason whatsoever. That he's going to make me do it. He's going to be the one that breaks me.
I've made no such vow, and
I understand. I don't blame
and
people. And
Georgia really must not elect Herschel Walker.
I can say that. I'll say that in a heartbeat.
This is the cynicism of, but this is a cynicism of the Republican Party, right? Oh, Herschel Walker's Black. Never mind that he has no character, that he has absolutely
no brains.
I'm going to be generous and say that he has, you know, brain damage from getting hit when he was playing football. And he has absolutely no desire to do anything other than just be an asshole. So, you know, I'm sorry, but this is cynical on their part. It's cynical and we have to overcome it. This is, you know, and
it is.
I mean,
it's gross. It does nothing but reinforce the racism in the Republican Party, because they think all they need to do is throw any Black person in front of the camera to spout their own talking points, and that's going to be good enough. And the reason it that's not the only reason it reinforces the racism in the Republican Party. The fact that all these Republicans fall for it, the fact that he's polling ahead of Warnock, is what reinforces.
Well,
it's mind-blowing to me.
I will say that he's polling with likely voters.
Right. It's likely voters. And with Stacey Abrams running.
Well, with Stacey Abrams on the case, yeah. I mean,
but you know,
well, she's on the ticket.
She's on the ticket. Hopefully that's going to help with turnout. But remember that there are all kinds. I mean, I guess in the primary, it went more smoothly than anyone was predicting with all of the restrictions that they put in that bill. But the bill that passed wasn't the original bill. So,
what had changed?
I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it wasn't as bad as what we all saw that got us all like, you got to be kidding.
It wasn't worse than what we all saw.
Right. It was. Okay. And I think in the long run, it's bad in some respects, and in others, it's just neutral. I mean, but it's something we have to overcome. That's the thing. It's just another set of barriers to overcome. So you have to do things like make sure that if they're voting by mail, they're doing it exactly the way they have to do it. You know, I go back to this case in Pennsylvania where there's this group of ballots that were received ahead of the election. So they were definitely done beforehand, you know, but the person forgot to date the ballot when they sent it in. So these were vote by mail ballots. The person forgot to date it when they sent it in, but it was received before election day. So that would presume that these ballots are valid and should be counted. Well, guess what? That's not the case, and they're being challenged, and they're going to the, you know, I don't know, all the way to the Supreme Court if they have to. And that's the stuff that just makes me sick. It's like, come on, you know, I mean, if you got them on November 1st and the election was on November 6th, they clearly were executed in time for the election. What is the problem here?
But this is right now a Republican on Republican complaint.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And you see that, you know, and it reminds me of something that happened yesterday in the hearing where Eastman was asked, how would you feel if Al Gore had just declared himself president? Or if Kamala Harris just declares Joe Biden the winner in 2024? He goes, oh yeah, no, that can't happen, but we can do this, you know?
Right. Literally, that's what he said. He said, we can do this. They can't.
Right.
I mean, and I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that until they said that. And they're like, oh yeah, shit. Al Gore could have just said, you know, I'm president now. Bye, everybody. I mean, and there was some point, somebody said something about, well, the left would, you know, thought of this idea. The left was for it before they were against it.
Never.
I don't know who that was. When? Exactly.
Never.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know who. Maybe it's John Stower, who is saying that, you know, we need to frame everything with a reminder that we're for the rule of law. If you are for the rule of law, you're not advocating breaking the law.
Right.
Everything that the Republicans were doing here was breaking the law.
Yeah.
And we need to put that front and center.
Democrats are the law and order party.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
We're not going around with sharpened flagpoles and, trying
Shipping
to.
police
Holy
officers.
shit.
Yes.
That was another moment, right? When they saw that guy brandishing his sharpened flagpole in
Yeah,
the
and I don't
in
think
the
he was
second hearing.
talking about the cops there. They were talking about scalping Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. And AOC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they would have loved to have done that.
Pulled him by the hair. And,
Yeah.
And Nancy Pelosi won't go to the hairdresser again. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. I mean, it was gross.
It was awful.
It was
That was on Tuesday.
I didn't think
Tuesday.
Yeah, that was Tuesday.
The woman hating
just oozed. Absolutely oozed that. I mean, there's no
and anti-Semitism because they were going after Nadler and Schumer.
Right.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the surveillance video.
Oh my God.
Dude,
Yeah, we haven't even done that.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
The tours.
And Representative Loudermilk.
Loudermilk.
So
first of all, if you have the capacity in this country to change your name, why wouldn't he?
I dated somebody named Loudermilk. Years.
You have?
Young, yes.
Well, why wouldn't he change his name? I don't know.
That aside.
Yeah, sorry.
The thing I took away from this, which we will talk about, is that you absolutely have to parse every word these guys say. Okay, because what Loudermilk did was denied that he gave anybody a tour of the Capitol building.
Yes. This is all a lie. This is all the left is making this up. Now, Mikey Sherrill is ex-military intelligence.
Yeah.
And she's the one that alerted everybody to the fact that she saw these tours on January 5th.
Yeah.
When the Capitol was closed to the public because of COVID. I mean, we were in DC in February. We all wanted to
couldn't get in.
We couldn't get in.
No. But these people were able to come in. You could come in with the help of a member of Congress or a staffer.
Yep.
And, Loudermilk is the one we know about, but Mikey Sherrill says that she saw others giving tours. She hasn't said who. Presumably the committee knows who those.
I was going to say she hasn't said publicly who.
Right. Because the cameras are there. And hopefully there is evidence of the others. But what was fascinating, the Capitol Police issued a statement saying that they looked at the surveillance video and said they didn't see anything unusual. And Loudermilk tweeted out that, see, I've been exonerated.
Yeah, right.
Wednesday, one was postponed. The committee put out their own little video with a Liz Cheney introduction showing Loudermilk giving a tour. And the way Loudermilk parsed his statement, saying,
right,
he took anybody into the Capitol building. No, but he took them into the office buildings. A tour of the office buildings, and a guy with 4 phones is taking photos of security checkpoints, of the entrances to the tunnels, of a directory showing which Democratic Congress people are in which office.
In which buildings? Yeah, which offices?
The nameplate for Jerry Nadler. And then they switch over to January 6th, and the same guy is saying how I'm going to get Pelosi, Schumer, and Nadler.
Yeah.
And and those 4 phones probably belonged to at least 3 of those phones belonged to other insurrectionists, right?
And they made the case, because they also showed the Proud Boys 1776 plan, which was to get into the Capitol as moles, like dressed in business suits so that they can't tell who they are. And so they'd be, early in the day, so that they're already in there, and then take these office buildings and basically attack the legislators and the staff when they are trying to escape through the tunnels. They wanted to kill the people working in the government, literally kill them. Hang Mike Pence wasn't
rhetorical.
Right.
Well, there was not rhetorical.
Gallows. Yeah, but that could have been for show.
Uh-huh.
That could have been a symbol, but it wasn't.
That could have been just, a couple of Democrats got in there and wanted to make the Republicans look bad. So
then going back to yesterday's, where they issued this timeline with Trump's messaging, when Trump sent out the tweet saying that Mike Pence has failed us, the violence surged.
Yep.
And people...
That was a shocking moment. 2:24 p.m. on January 6th. Trump tweeted that out. Mike Pence has failed us. He's not going to do his job, blah, blah, blah. And that was being read out in real time. This is what I want to know.
Who the bullhorn
dude with the bullhorn was. He's reading that out in real time. And boom, they're surging.
They're surging. They're chanting.
Yeah. And hang Mike Pence, building their news.
Yeah.
Their gallows.
That's when it started.
And someone in the White House working in the administration, like enough that they're like in the office, like is saying that was like pouring gasoline on this because it was already violent. They were already there.
Right.
It was already dangerous.
But when that tweet got read out, it got way more dangerous, way more dangerous. And at one point, they were within 40 feet of Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
I know. It is terrifying. I'm not giving Mike Pence any kudos here for doing the right thing, but
yeah.
But you know what?
That was a little bit of kudos for doing the right thing because he was such a mealy-mouthed little sycophant for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have done the wrong thing, and he did all he could to get out of doing the right thing.
He did
the right thing, and we're able to talk about it. Otherwise,
we wouldn't be. That's true.
I do give him that. You have to give him that.
Yeah.
Because if not for Mike Pence, this country would be over right now. Even though he did nothing for 4 years. And he is still doing nothing.
Right.
But he had one glorious
moment.
He did the right thing.
Yeah.
No.
Boy, I'll tell you.
He did the right thing once. And,
you realize how close everything was.
It was the important right thing to do.
I mean, I hope that people watching this aren't junkies like us, right? That they're just kind of ordinary people that are like, wow, these are hearings. We should, pay attention to them. Yes. And that they're making it into the news and breaking through because we were so close to having this government overthrown.
Yeah.
By basically anarchists and
fascists
and Nazis, I mean, I don't know. I may be being unfair to anarchists. Actually, I think it was more Nazis and white supremacists.
And there's,
I need for there to be a different name for. I don't think neo-Nazi is a strong enough term for some of these people who want to repeat what happened in the Holocaust and World War II. Neo to me sounds like amateur. But I mean,
well, it's new. I mean, it's new. It's not neo, like amateur. It's like this is the new wave of the.
I mean, perhaps, but they want to repeat it, which makes it worse because truly before. I mean, honestly, Hitler invented a new kind of genocide. That was new.
Yeah.
But people that now know what was happening and want to emulate it, like, I feel like there's got to be a better term. Repeat Nazi. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I'm now. It's like the wordsmith in me is going, but
Well, I know you'll come up with something.
yeah. But the other thing that was chilling to me was basically realizing that if they had, I mean, there was a point where where Pence's attorney, his in-house counsel, said, if the courts wouldn't address this, if this went to the court, he said basically, Supreme Court, it would be a 9-0 against you. He told John Eastman that. And John Eastman's like, well, maybe it'd be 7-2, so they hash it out for a while and they come back and they say 9-0. But Eastman's argument is, but it'll never get to the Supreme Court because they'll invoke the political doctrine, right? Which is that they don't get involved in the political aspect of things. Mm-hmm. And Pence's lawyer said, if they didn't get involved, if they didn't resolve this, because they're the only ones who could resolve this, then it would be resolved by shooting in the streets.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely right. I mean, that again, this is how close we came. Like if you don't watch these and get how,
this is why they are advocating for unrestricted use of AR-15s. This is the plan.
Yeah. So they can just mow us down in the streets, I guess.
Yeah. Open carry.
Yeah.
No age limit.
And can we talk about that for just a minute? Because as I predicted, Republicans are already reneging on their framework, their so-called framework.
John Cornyn in charge of the Republican side, right?
I said it. I said that it'll never happen.
Is he from Texas or something? Where is he from? Like, why would they?
Yeah, he's from Texas, but he's like the second in command of the Republicans. He's like the.
He's
so
awful.
He's horrible.
He's awful.
Yeah, but we've seen this before. Like if they put John Cornyn in, what he's going to do is he's going to agree to a framework and then nibble and nip it away until there's no vote, right? And because all of a sudden those 10 Republicans that said, yeah, we agree to this framework, don't agree to the framework. This is how they work. And every time Democrats fall for it, just put the House bill on the floor. Put the House bill on the floor, make them vote, make them vote, make them vote. And that means Manchin too.
Yeah.
Be done. Stop fucking around with the fetishizing. I guess I dropped the F-bomb first day. Anyway, stop fetishizing bipartisanship.
A long time ago.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Democrats put that ahead of actual fighting, and it's time now to fight. No more of this. Let's put our arm around each other and talk about how we can find common ground. We can't find common ground because these people don't want any common ground.
We can't find common ground with people who will not compromise.
Right.
They refuse to compromise. You can't find common ground with people who say that compromise is a sign of weakness.
And you can't find common ground with people who don't who see a different reality, who won't agree on the facts, who won't agree on what,
Right.
Exactly. And that's what they are. And like, to those people out there that say, well, they did get an infrastructure bill passed. All I'm going to say about that is that was the Republican wish list so that they could go back to their districts and win by saying, oh, look, we brought some pork back, right? And they killed the Build Back Better bill. And, and by the way, it wasn't just Republicans. We had some fetishizing Democrats who thought it would be a good idea to separate them. And here we are.
Well, and as it is, they're blaming the inflation on
right.
When that is
when it's not, it's the supply chain.
Right.
It's
And that
the supply.
the inflation is way worse in other parts of the world. For instance,
Yeah,
with gas, gas is sold using dollars. And with the Fed raising interest rates, the dollar is worth more.
Yeah.
So they are paying even more than we are for their gas.
right.
And it's like $11 a gallon in Canada, I think it is.
Mhm.
Wow.
And, yeah. And
Yeah.
there are these charts that show how high it is. And
Mhm.
we're like somewhere in the low middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lower than higher. I mean, yeah.
And the
So
Republicans complaining about the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline was never going to bring oil to the United States. It was just to transport Canadian oil for export elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't even anywhere near ready to go.
Right.
right.
And the United States is producing more oil now than we ever have before. We are a net exporter of oil.
Yep.
And
Right.
it's not a supply and demand issue in this country. It is the global cost of the oil.
Right. And that is largely because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Yes. Which could not be predicted a year ago.
Right. Right. So yeah, gas prices suck, but there's a reason for it, and it doesn't have anything to do with Democrats in Washington, D.C. I mean,
Right.
this is all external issues that have
Right.
come up.
It would have
And
happened to anyone.
yeah,
Just as I now believe that the COVID virus would have spread regardless of what we did, but we could have slowed it.
I think we could have slowed it down, and I
We
think
could
we
have
might
slowed
have
it
slowed
in
it down
the
enough to get a vaccine. The only
Right.
difference I would say between COVID and this is that I think if there had been leadership, after they shut down the country to mandate the masks, right, and do as much remote work and everything as you could until we had a vaccine, and then mandate the vaccine. I
Yes.
think it could have been and it would not have killed the number of people that it killed.
Politicizing the vaccine and the masking continues to do damage to all
Yeah,
of
it
us.
continues today.
Right. Yep, it does. So
I was at the mall over the weekend, and I was just shocked at how few masks I saw with COVID numbers rising. All the
yeah.
people, it was a very hot day,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to get some lunch, and I will not eat indoors.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're sweltering, but,
Mhm.
they have built very nice covered patios everywhere
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
And I insist on sitting in the covered patio. And
Yep.
yes, it was
Mhm.
nicer in the air conditioning. And, the restaurants are packed and
Mhm.
everybody's behaving as if everything is normal.
Yep.
But I guess to them, getting COVID over and over again is normal. I don't know if you saw Dr. Wachter up in San Francisco, who is one of the University of California, San Francisco, one of the
Mhm.
experts who has been studying the disease, one of the
Mhm.
go-to guys, and his wife caught COVID
Oh.
6 weeks ago, and it's long COVID. And
Oh no.
she is suffering. She has brain fog. She has fatigue. It's 6 weeks later. There's no telling how long it's going to last.
Mhm.
There are statistics out there that show that people who have COVID are getting strokes, even if it was a mild case of COVID.
Yep.
It may be inevitable.
It can trigger heart issues.
Get
It can
it.
trigger,
It may be inevitable, but I'm doing everything I can to put it off.
Right,
Yeah,
because
same.
there are some things, there might be some things that COVID might trigger that we're unaware of going on in our own bodies. Like why
And
why
with
risk it?
children too, they keep
Yes.
finding new issues in children.
That's
And
why
I'm
I'm so grateful that the vaccine
finally,
is now approved, and I really
Finally.
hope parents will go get it
but
and
they
get their kids vaccinated.
ones,
Huh?
they haven't been getting the existing ones. The old people haven't been getting those.
Well, So I know that's true, but the schools are going to require a vaccination for K through 12.
I hope they
The
do.
public schools, no, they already have. I mean, November, I think, is the drop dead date on that. So, so that's good. But I mean, I have kids that work in schools, and one of them works in a preschool, and one of them works in elementary to high school, so K-12. And they both had COVID. I don't want them to get it again. They were vaxxed and boosted. So I'm just hoping that, we can get through this.
Even Dr. Fauci just got it.
Oh yeah, Fauci. Which, what is gross is the right wing being all happy about that. I mean, you know what? I wasn't happy when Trump got it. Like I didn't wish that on him.
I was a little bit. I hoped I wanted him to die. I'm sorry.
I was a little bit happy. But like I said before, I'm going to hell.
Maybe not.
I guess we're all going to hell now.
I'm a Jew. I don't believe in hell.
Right, exactly.
That's right. You two don't. So it's just me who's going to go. Thanks a lot.
You're the only one with a real conscience, Karoli.
Well, I didn't wish him death, but I did. Well, Nate, I did.
Unlike
I didn't wish COVID on him.
Bobo wished on Biden this week.
Oh yeah,
Lauren Boebert.
Yeah. I'll just tell you, as a Christian, that was absolutely offensive. It was offensive when they did it to Obama, and it's offensive when they do it to Biden. It's just wrong.
Beyond offensive. It's
But I mean,
Secret Service should take her aside and have a little talk with her.
Yeah, well, I mean, so it's the same thing as, they get away with it because they're quoting scripture, right? And it's his days be few. Like this is some kind of okay thing because you found it in the Old Testament. I mean, it's
also
it's just repulsive. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. It's just, she's repulsive. And by the way, if whatever else she may or may not have done, she's a hypocrite and she's a shit disturber and she doesn't deserve to hold the office that she has.
That's the truth.
And, which Ted Cruz apparently bought for her. So.
Yes, I would really like to know what the financial arrangement is between her and Ted Cruz. Did Ted Cruz, buy, did he give hundreds of thousands of dollars to her campaign? And is that legal?
Was that actually verified about the Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see a lot of verification.
Yeah, there was so much in that stupid, bombshell story that dropped.
That's why I didn't put it on our rundown.
So many wires that needed untangling.
We put it up on our site.
I get it, but like
people want to read it. You have to put that on your site.
Well, and I'll tell you why I did. We did it for two reasons. One is because I find the allegations to be believable, number one. And second, with regard to Ted Cruz, that's a campaign finance issue. And yes, there is evidence to that effect. And she failed to report $70,000 of it. Why, I don't know. But she has had numerous campaign finance violations over and over again. She overstates her mileage.
Yeah.
Yeah. She uses her campaign funds for personal reasons. So as far as I'm concerned, that's all fair game. You put that out there.
That's all fair game. That is all fair game. It was just really unfortunate to me that it was tangled up with so much stuff that honestly does not matter. And, like, give me the real stuff that could take her down. Give me that stuff.
A shame we don't have video like they did with Maddie.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they may just have dropped their first installment of the Oppo. We don't know.
Look, if they have more, great. But when a fact checker for Mother Jones, comes and says, sorry guys, most of this is pretty unsubstantiated, then I'm going to go with you know, the
Well, you
stuff that's
guys, the campaign finance stuff should take her out, but it won't.
that's
I mean,
right. That alone.
she's
Well, yeah, her
already.
stupidity should take her out alone. But
Corruption is considered normal now. You guys, we've got 20 seconds left.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
To talk about. That's our show for the week. Join us next week at MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, our YouTube channel, or find us on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. This is Donna Schwartz Mills saying goodbye for the MOMocrats.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the DemCast family of podcasts.